Okay, so before I make any series standalone continuation plans for 2026, I need to clear off this failed tri-chapter shelf because everything that I want to read from my shelves is going on this thing for this year. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris and today's video is all about building the 2026 TBR. It is nearly the end of the year, so it is time to look forward and plan sort of what's going to happen in 2026. Now, towards the end of this year, I really was just letting myself mood read, and I plan on just letting that trend sort of happen, but at the same time, there's a lot of things on my shelves, and also particularly the shelves next to me that you don't see in the videos that I would like to get to in 2026. So there is a bit of a trend that happens with creators where a couple of years in they realize how many books they own, and I am no different. I am the cliche. So I realize how many books that I have purchased and would like to make a real effort on shopping my shelves a little bit more, and there's a theme that'll be coming out. There's a themes video that'll be coming out, like my goals for 2026, which will put more into context what I'm trying to do in the new year. But for today's video, I want to talk about the series that I'd like to start, the series that I'd like to continue, and also some of the standalones, and build the shelf that I have next to me. Now, there's books everywhere here at the moment. I'm going to be naming the year of 2026 as the year of the feral shelves, which means I lovingly refer to the shelves next to me that you can't see as the feral shelves, where a lot of the beat up paperbacks that I purchase go, because I actually prefer reading secondhand mass market paperbacks. They just feel nicer to me in the hand. I don't like or don't love the unbroken spine. I actually prefer a broken spine, but the people have spoken, and you don't. So I tend to try and put the nicer looking books on the shelves that face you in the videos. But I have with me a notebook which I'll be using throughout 2026, and again more on this in the goals video, which will very likely be out next week, but today is the TBR. So in here I have the series that I want to start, the continuations and the standalones, and we're going to go through them all today. I'm not going to split up the videos. I'm not going to go too in depth with each of the series, just maybe how long they've been on my shelves if I can remember, and also sort of what has drawn me to them. Now, I will preface this by saying in 2025 I started 2 of the series that I said I was going to start, so it doesn't bode well for me. I think there may actually be a repeat in here on like one of the series that I had in the second year that I did booktube, but we'll see. So we are going to, I have like my handwriting is shit, so you know, don't judge me. I have a reading journal which I'll be using throughout the year, like I said, and I have 8 series that I would like to start, 2 series that I would like to start rereading, and a couple of honourable mentions. So basically, as I go through them, I'm going to be building the shelf. I may actually have too many books for this little shelf here. I do have another shelf to build, which will replace this one, but I haven't done that yet. So I'll be doing that and painting it because it's going to be blue, and eventually I'll be painting this wall blue and getting some hopefully shark curtains or just new curtains in that space. But anyway, I digress. We're going to start off with the series, and I'm trying not to make this video super long, but we'll start off with the series. We'll go through the 8 that are new series to me. There's definitely a repeat of last year, and then we'll go for the rereads and the honourable mentions, and then we'll move on to the standalones. So the series that I would like to start in 2026. Now, 2 of these are on audio, so I will do those first, and the first one of those is going to be A Pattern of Shadow and Light. This is by Melissa McPhail. I know very little about this series, except my friend Mark has loved it. Melissa McPhail unfortunately has passed away before she could complete the last, I think, 2 books in the series, but I believe there's potentially a family friend or someone in the family who is completing those for her with the notes and manuscripts they have. There's no timeline on those to my knowledge, but I have been assured that it's very much like a Game of Thrones situation where they are good enough, not that I've read Game of Thrones, but they are good enough to be read as they are. One of my friend's favourite series. I was meant to do this the second year that I was on booktube, and I just didn't. So I'm going to be doing this on audio. I actually own 4 of the 5 available books already on audio. So that was an easy one for me to do. So these are quite long books. I believe they're around the 35 to 45 hour mark. as you go along in the series. So this will take up most of my audio time in the months that they're in here. I plan to do one every other month and slip in the second audiobook series that I'm looking to do this year, which is the Memoirs of Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. I actually do have the first book. Let me get that. Sorry, I do actually have the first book of this one. So it starts with a natural history of dragons. I've heard the audiobooks of this series are fantastic. Big thing for me this year is to look at curating my collection, which again I'll go into a little bit more in that goals video or that themes video. So I've heard the audiobooks for these are great. I only own the first physical copy. If I absolutely love the audiobooks and can see reread potential, then maybe I'll get the whole series physically, but for now I do have this one physically, and that will go on the shelf. So that is the first one popping on the shelf. I'm going to play around with that a little bit more as we build it. Okay, this first one is a carryover from 2025. I did not get to it this year, and I would like to, so I'm going to put it on the 2026 series to start as well. This is Phaedra's Trilogy by Jacqueline Carey. I know the series continues on. I am planning on doing the first 3 books hopefully this year. So it starts with Kushiel's Dart, goes on to Kushiel's Chosen, and then Kushiel's Avatar at the end there. This ring light, sorry, is quite bright in the glossy covers there. So I do plan on getting to these hopefully in 2026. We'll see how that goes. I plan on reading like 60 books, but I read a little bit more this year potentially. It just depends on going with the flow. I've got anticipated releases, I've got other things on here, but in an ideal world I will be reading those. So we have those as well. Put them out so you can see what we've got going on there. The next one I have, and these are all from the feral shelves, so these next 2 have been calling to me for quite some time. I have had these series, both of these, for a very long time on my shelves. This first one is called The View from the Mirror. This is by Ian Irvine, and because of the way the camera is set up, these are all out of order. So this one starts off with A Shadow on the Glass. I actually read this one, I read half of this one when I was in high school, and I just never got back to it. I liked it, but I had to return it to the library, so I just never got around to finishing it. I have both this and the subsequent series in this world. So this is the original sort of quartet is what I'm looking at starting this year. I don't know whether I'll continue on yet, I'm unsure, but it starts with A Shadow on the Glass. It goes on to A Tower on the Rift, and then it goes through Dark is the Moon, which is book 3, and then it is The Way Between Worlds. The Way Between the Worlds as book 4. And there is another series that goes on along with this one. So I've had these for a very long time. I have no idea what it's about. I think it's like classic fantasy adventure, but they're on the list to start in 2026. The next one that I have here is called The Tide Lords, and this is another quartet. This is by Jennifer Fallon, who is an Australian author, and it starts with The Immortal Prince. Cool covers here. These have just been calling to me. So in my mood read era, I keep looking at the shelves and this series keeps jumping out at me. We have book 2, The Gods of Amarantha. Book 3 is The Palace of Impossible Dreams. Lovely green cover. And then The Chaos Crystal, which I quite like the title of, is book 4. Again, I don't know very much about these, just that my brain is like, these are the ones, this is the one for you. So we're going to put that one on. So I'm going to put that one on the list and see how we go. Now, the biggest one that I have by far on this list is going to be The Wars of Light and Shadow by Janny Wirtz. So I'm not going to hold all these up individually. I don't know how many books I'll get done this year, but I'm definitely looking at prioritizing this series. I believe I'll be starting in February, so watch out for the start of this one. I own the first 7. The 7th is just not the same size, so it was awkward to hold up. I don't know how many, like I said, I'm going to get through, but this is a priority to at least start this year. I would like to get potentially the first 4 or 5 done this year. So they will be going on the TBR placeholder shelf. Then we move on to a series I've heard only one person talk about ever, and that was Rob J. Hayes saying this was an influence to some of his writing. Now, Rob J. Hayes has not missed for me yet, so I was curious enough to go ahead and buy it. This is The Artifacts of Power by Maggie Fury, and it starts with Orion. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I have got all 4 of the books here. These are shorter, which is lovely. So maybe I can fit them in while I'm doing Wars of Light and Shadow. So starts with Orion, goes Harp of Winds, book 2. We've got the Sword of Flame, which is book 3. They get smaller, which is fantastic. And then we have Diamara, book number 4. Hopefully I pronounced those correctly. I'm not sure. So that is another one from the feral shelves that I would like to pick up. Oh, we're out of order. We're really out of order. That I would like to pick up this year. And then I have Mages of the Wheel. I don't own this physically. I own all the books that are currently out on my Kindle, which is by J.D. Evans. This is a romantic fantasy series, I want to say. I've heard very good things. Now, I have shied away from romance in my fantasy books for a long time, and then I've had a few books in recent experiences which have really made me question my bias there. So I think I'm going to enjoy this one. I think it is fantasy enough, and normally if the blend is there, and it's got those fantasy elements and those world building, those plot elements that tie in with the romance, whether it's heavy romance or not, I tend to have a good time with it. So that is me checking myself and giving this series a go. I do have the first one on audio, so it's very likely I will start the audio route for this one. I don't know whether I'll continue on with audio, just because I do have them all on my Kindle. So I don't own this physically, but if I like it enough, then again, I'll look at curating it and adding it to my collection. So I'm looking forward to that one. I think that is all for the new stuff. Let me quickly double check. I haven't been counting these. So yes, it looks like that is all for the new stuff. A couple of honourable mentions here, which I may start during the year. I'm not sure. The first is going to be the Forsaken trilogy by R.J. Barker. R.J. Barker is an auto-buy author for me. I tend to like doing these one a month, or at least I did with The Tide Child and the other one that starts with Age of Assassins. I wanted to wait until I had the series to be able to do that with these. It's now all out, and I really do need to start them. So I have all three. The first one is Gods of the Weird Wood. This one I hear is a bit weird, and I like a bit weird. We have the second one, which is Warlords of the Weird Wood. I think that's the second one. Don't quote me on that. It has a 2 on it, and then we have the Heart of the Weird Wood. These are all the beautiful broken binding editions there. So that is one that I will potentially pick up as well. And the other honourable mention that I will sort of slip in as the mood takes me will potentially be the books of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So I think, sorry, the novels of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, don't quote me on that. But potentially I will start doing these as well and just slip them in. They are smaller, I hear they're more accessible than Malazan. I really enjoyed my time with Malazan. Now that I've had time to reflect on that journey as well, I would like to reread them one day, but not quite yet. So I wouldn't mind doing the 6, I believe there's 6 novels of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So that is also a potential. Now I do want to reread this year as well. I have previously not loved rereading, and it's just because there's so many books that I want to get to. Like we've already had, I don't know, 20, 30 books that have come out that I would like to start this year. But I do want to get into rereading and again check my bias there a little bit, because I'm sure that I will take more in from books as I reread them for a second time. So there are 2 series that I read over a decade ago now that I really, really loved. I remember loving. Now I've had a whole lot of life happened since then. I'm now 34, turning 35 in 2026, and maybe it's time to give these another go and see if I enjoy them as much, or try and find what I loved, especially now as a writer, like what drew me to these stories. So the first one I'd like to give a go is the Troy Games. This is by Sarah Douglas. She has unfortunately passed, but this is another Aussie author. And it starts with Hades' daughter. Yes, there are a few books with shirtless men on the cover. I did not do that on purpose, but I'm not mad at it. The second book here is God's Concubine. I remember reading this in the public once, and I was like, is this a book to be reading in public? Unsure. Third book is Dark Witch Rising. Fairy in the cover, and then Druid's Sword. I remember in this series, this one lost me a little bit, and then it really brought it back in like the last 200 pages, and they're chunky books. They're deceptively chunky as well here, because the font is quite small on these books. But it really took the concept of the Groundhog Day sort of trope and turn it on its head. So each one of these books is with the same characters in different time periods, and they sort of have to, when they reincarnate, they have to figure out what time period they're in, what is the societal expectations and norms of their genders, and they swap between the series as well, and how they find each other, because they're not sort of all reincarnated at the same time. They're not born in the same period and the same relationship dynamic. It was just really interesting, and I remember like really enjoying that aspect of it, and I thought it was such a fun play on it. So we sort of start in Mesopotamia, in Hades' daughter, and then we end up around World War II. So I remember really, really loving it. Sarah Douglas's writing was super easy to get into, and I'm looking forward to giving it another go. Hopefully it won't take me too long to read them, just because I'm somewhat familiar with the story, but we'll see. And the other one that I would like to start rereading is a trilogy. This is the whole trilogy. It's an omnibus edition called The Age of Misrule by Mark Chadbourne. I don't remember a whole lot about this one, except there is a guy called Church in it, but I remember really enjoying it. I definitely read this in a very dark period of my life where my brain was just not in a very good space there, and I was figuring out that at the time I identified as female and I was attracted to females, and I had a very rough 6 months in my youth, and I read this around that time when I was trying to sort of break out of it. Get out of here, dust, we don't need you. So I'm sort of curious to see how this holds up for me now that I'm in a much better headspace, but something drew it to me. I liked it enough to buy the omnibus edition a second time, so we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens there. And they're short, so this is an omnibus. It's got all three in there. I might be able to slip those in between other reads. Now that is a lot of books already. My series continuations and my standalones aren't as drastic, but I'm just going to fix the shelf up and then I'll come back. You won't see that any time has changed because I'll just cut it. See you in a bit. Okay, so next up we have series continuations, and there's a couple of rereads in here as well, which rereads, I want to reread book one and then continue on with the series because it's been a little bit of time since I have read them. So we are going to start off with the honourable mentions this time, and then I'll jump into the ones that are definitely are planned for the read. The first honourable mention is a series that I'm currently reading. I'm on book 2 now. Don't ask me what it is called, but they are the Ascendant books. Oh, sorry. The series is called The Ascendant, I think, by K. Arsenal Rivera. I read The Tiger's Daughter earlier in this year. I'll put it up here just because I can't bother. I've just listed a whole bunch of stuff. Loved it. Loved it. One of the top reads. I'm so glad that I don't make my best of lists until the very end of the year, because this has taken out one of those top spots. I think I gave it my book 2 of the year. Just fantastic. I am currently reading book 2, which is the Phoenix Empress, and I do plan on finishing that series out in 2026. I don't know where it's going to fit. That being said, I'm not a binge reader, and I've picked up book 2 immediately after book 3, so I may not be able to wait. We'll see. We'll see how the end of book 2 holds up there. I'm really enjoying it, not as much as I love book 1, but very much enjoying it there. The other honourable mention, which I would like to finish, like I'm not being drawn back to it, but I would like to sort of close out the trilogy, is the Windwing Flames trilogy. So I've read book 1. I enjoyed book 1 enough. I enjoyed book 1 enough to continue on with the series. I did not love it as much as other people did. I had a few issues with it, and I do talk about that a little bit in one of the vlogs that I did. But I like Jen Williams' writing. I find it quite simplistic. Now I don't know whether that gets better or not. I think I was expecting something else. Now my expectations have been set. Potentially, I will enjoy it more. So I do have the Bitter Twins and the Poison Song to go. I liked it enough to continue on the series. I will finish out the series. I don't know when, but it is an honourable mention because if I'm looking for series to close out, I think this one would be a really easy one to close out just with the way that it's written. Very accessible to read and different enough to continue on with and enjoy it. So I do have those as an honourable mention as well to potentially close out. So a couple of things on my radar to close out series or get caught up to series. The first one that I will mention here is the Dragon Spirit. So I just have the third book, The Broken Sword, to go by L.L. McRae. I have done this on audio so far. I was going to read the third book on ebook, but I know that the audio is being worked on. I believe it's either March or May. It's an M month. I may wait for that and do the third book on audio because the narrator, who the name is escaping me at the moment, RJ Bailey, I don't know. I'll find the name and I'll put it down here. Fantastic job. So I will be getting that on audio as soon as it is available, and I will very likely finish out the series on audio when that comes out. But high priority for me to finish that one this year because I just read L.L. McRae's newsletter. She's an auto author for me. And it looks like there may be a new book in a new series coming out this year as well. More on that at a later date. The next one that I would like to pick up is Supplicant by Delilah Wan. This is a beast of a book. I really enjoy Petition. I had a very good time with it. It takes some of like the magic school tropes and just like throws it on its head, and the following the author, I respect the author a hell of a lot, and her personal story is like just left a job that she hated, and she put that into a fantasy book, and it was awesome. I would like to get to Supplicant. I follow along with some of the writing streams that she does as well. Just really enjoy her process. So I would like to read this while book one is still relatively fresh in my mind, and I don't need to do a reread of it. So it's a beast. That's going to take me a while, but it is a high priority for 2026. Next up, we have a book that I did read book one. It's still relatively fresh in my mind, although it was a long time ago. I may do the first book on audio just to sort of get back up to speed with it. This is She Who Became the Sun. The one that I haven't read is He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chen. I really enjoyed She Who Became Sun. I'm sure I will enjoy He Who Drowned the World. I know a lot of people had issues with it. I was not one of them. I loved it. So I would like to finish off this duology this year as well. And beautiful, again, broken binding. I need to get better at actually reading the special editions that I buy, rather than just having them be pretty on the shelf. They are for reading, except for that folio edition that I have, which I will never put my grubby hands on. Anyway, I digress. The next one that I have here, I do need to reread and then continue on with the series. This is Dreams of the Dying by Nicholas Lietzow. One of the books that got me into reading indie, to be completely honest, and he has announced that finally book 2 is coming out. It is a book 2 split into 2 volumes, so it's a book 2 volume 1, book 2 volume 2. I've pre-ordered both of them in the hardcovers. The covers are, again, beautiful. This is the Endural series. The second book just got too long to be able to print in one edition. So I think if you're looking at release dates for these, the first volume comes out in February 26th, and the second volume comes out on March 26th. But I pre-ordered the hardcovers, so I am looking at rereading Dreams of the Dying. It's been about 5 years. I read this, I think, prior to being on BookTube, and I'll be at 4 years in January. So I will be rereading this, and then hopefully continuing on with the series. I will drop everything. Very likely, but that first book was already 1,000 pages, so I can only imagine what book 2 is going to be. I probably will split it into the 2 volumes and do it that way. The next one I would like to continue on with is the Dark Shores book 2, which the title is escaping me right now, but I do need to reread Peace and Turmoil. This is by Elliot Brooks, of BookTube. If you haven't heard of her before, this is fantastic. I remember really, really enjoying this one. I liked that it had a complex political landscape with a prose and plot and just whimsy behind it that was easy enough to follow. So, sorry, the complex political landscape and plot, but the writing and the actual sort of like, there's enough whimsy in here that it just feels super magical and sort of draws you in and was easy to follow along with, even though we had those complex layers. And I thought that it was just such a skill to bring as an author. So I'm looking forward to continuing on with the series. I'll put the second book up here. I want to say Remnants of Dawn. Do not quote me on that. If I get it right, good job, Kris. So those are the series that I would like to continue on with a couple of honourable mentions in there. This is already getting quite full up, so I think I've already got like enough books to fill this shelf here. We'll see. We'll see once we get to the end of it. So that brings us to the standalones, and there's definitely a couple that have been on here before, so I'm just going to get them and then we're going to run through that and then I can finish this video. Alright, last up, very quickly, we had the standalones. I know this is a long video, but I don't want to split it into 2, so I apologise for anyone who stayed around till the end here, but hopefully the timestamps have let you know what you're interested in. First up, I'm going to do the honourable mentions like I did before. The first honourable mention that I have here is a contemporary. It's called Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. I read The Handmaid's Tale. It was terrifying. Really well written, loved it. Didn't love it for the people inside of it, and the fact that some of that shit is coming to life now is terrifying, like legitimately terrifying, but I would like to experience more of Margaret Atwood. I bought this one ages ago. It may have even been like Rachel's and my trip the year prior to our fake honeymoon in the Sunshine Coast hinterland, where I was like, that looks interesting, just never read it. I've done a good job of like picking books from my shelves that you can't see this year, just to try it and either keep it or unhaul it, and this is one that I would like to do that with as well. If I like this one, then it's going to probably start some sort of author project with Margaret Atwood to read her bibliography. So that is an honourable mention. I don't know when it will be picked up, but if my mood strikes me for a contemporary, that is the one that I will be reaching for. Another one is I recently, over on Threads, put up just a question saying, you know, who's got books on Kobo Plus, since I am trying to move as much away from Amazon as I can, and I came across a book called Hinterland by Logan Spurgeon, and this is a folk horror, and I I love folk horror. I do not read enough of it. I love creepy towns with like weird cult-like dynamics inside of it, and like just mythology and lore of particular places, and this one really just grasped my attention. I have no idea what it's about. The cover looks like this. It looks fantastic. Folklore, I didn't need to know anything else, but I already downloaded this one on Kobo Plus. Out of all of the things that was suggested to me, that was a lot, and thank you so much to people who went ahead and gave me suggestions. This one has definitely caught my attention the most, so maybe spooky season, this one will come up. Now, 3 of the others that I've got here, so I have 5 other standalones, and then I will let you go, I promise. 3 of them are going to be buddy reads with Ryan, 2 potentially on Drum and Blender, and one that we're doing together. The first one and the biggest one is probably going to be Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I don't know what to expect going into this one, although I know that I read a lot more classics in 2025 and had a really good time with it. I very likely will be doing this one physically and like taking notes because we do want to talk about it. I believe that one will be happening in Q4. That'll be the December chat, the Books and Bevies chat that we do. I bought one that has enough room in the margins to make notes. I feel it in my bones. I'm really going to enjoy this one. I know it may be a difficult read, but I don't know. I feel it. Although I felt this way about Dante's Inferno, and I enjoyed it, but I just never continued on with the rest of the books in that series. Another classic that Ryan and I are looking to read together, I will probably do this one on audio, is Anna Karenina. This is the cover from the movie, I think, yeah, by Leo Tolstoy. I don't know what to expect here. I have seen the film. I don't remember it very well, but I've wanted to read it. It's a bucket list book for me to read, Anna Karenina, so I'm going to be giving this one a go, probably on audio. I might do a bit of a mix with audio and physical just because it is such a big book there. We'll see how we go. And the one that we have picked for Q1 this year, and I suspect I won't like this one, but I suspect Ryan will like it a hell of a lot, is Babel by R.F. Kuang. So this will be a read that will happen very likely in February to talk about in March. So that is on the list as well. Now, I haven't cheated completely and just given you stuff that I'm going to be reading with Ryan over on Drum and Blender, so I do have 2 others here. One I've been meaning to read for the last, 5 fucking years, and I just haven't done it. That is Tigana by Guy Gabriel Kay. Now, they're a little bit more well-read in fantasy and just sort of, I guess, lyrical prose and epic world-building within standalones. Maybe it's time to pick up a Guy Gabriel Kay. I suspect this is going to be another one of those authors that I absolutely adore, just to be one of those cliche booktube bros. That is not my intent to be a cliche booktube bro, but they do tend to like Guy Gabriel Kay, and potentially I will as well. I don't know, this is the only one that I own. If I like that one, I have heard very good things about Tigana, specifically with the world building that they have, and I'm a world building guy, so that's going to spark my interest all the time. We'll see how we go. And the last one I have here is Heather. I'm going to read it in 2026. It's going to happen. That is Weave World by Clive Barker. So I have owned this one for a little bit. I've been curious about it. This will be my first Clive Barker, potentially again in spooky season. I'm unsure really what it's about, but it says it is a stuff which classics are made. And that, my friends, brings me to the end of a 2026 TBR. I can't wait to give you my anticipated releases video and tell you all the books I'm excited about that I will likely not get to until 2036, but I'm excited about them nonetheless. How do you think I'm going to go? I started 2 of the series that I put on my list this year, so let me know how many you think I will read from this. I'm hoping by having it physically here, things that I'm excited about that I will gravitate towards and go, oh, look at these books that I have displayed on this shelf, or the new shelf when it comes into place. But yeah, let me know how you think I'm going to do in the comments down below. If you like the content, give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.